he's like, I get to listen to your show and hear the stories about all these people that I know, and I get to know them better.
There you go.
All right, so here we are. Now this is the real official intro, right? Dudes, thanks for joining me in the basement.
Yeah.
Anytime, man.
The Goldmine. We're all drinking, what is it? What is this? The black lager? So what are we going to do? Like, what's this special? It's a Christmas episode. It's actually going to be out on Christmas Day.
Put Yule
right?
log here.
Yule log. Aaron is the video specialist. Mm-hmm. So you're going to superimpose.
So everyone will be surprised when they see this video. Everyone.
Of how big the Yule log is?
Yeah, probably.
Justin's like,
just how big is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So we're going to tell the story about Tap That AZ, how this all became to be, because all three of us are key components to this
It's definitely one thing we should talk about.
journey. I think so too, because we don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, you guys are on a warpath, so I even have like some questions for you. Like,
okay,
we've been doing this for a while, or you've been doing this for a while. I've known you for a while now, and I would still just love to hear. Like, I always love to hear the origin of something. Like, I know you did like music and stuff like that before, so kind of how did this one get started?
The genesis of the whole thing, yeah. So a buddy of mine. So we grew up together, and he lives in Florida. I live out here. But we always would call each other, talk about music, and like, dude, have you ever heard this band? Have you ever heard this band? So we wanted to do a podcast. We both liked podcasts. We grew up in a really strange, kind of unusual part of the country. And we actually didn't realize it until we moved away. But he's like, dude, you realize we grew up in the northernmost county of the Appalachian region of the United States? I'm like, dude, it makes so much sense now. Like 20 minutes north of like West Virginia. So he's like, we should do a podcast about all of the local characters. Like we had like the town drunk. His name was Stumble Gumble. We had Shitbag Joe.
The classy alcoholic.
Classy alcoholic would have been the mayor of this region. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, I don't think people around the country want to hear about. Look at that. Justin's flexing.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
I got marker.
Saw a camera.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm like, dude, no, let's not. That no one's gonna really get that. He's like, well, let's do one about music, right? So basically, what it entailed was, I was in my closet, my walk-in closet, with my computer. He was in his office in Florida, and he would call me. We would drink for 3 hours, and we'd talk about music and get hammered. Right?
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm in my walk-in closet with no ventilation,
Why?
I would come out, and my wife was like, why are you sweating so bad? I'm like, there's no vents in there. Like, it was great though, and I'm hammered, right? So
dedicated to the craft.
Never mind why I just came out of the bedroom sweaty, drunk, and have no explanation.
Right. Who were you in there with?
Just Steve.
Are you having an affair?
Yeah. So we did a segment. We after about 5 episodes, we're like, dude, we're drinking every single episode. Let's add that. Like, so we did a little thing. We did a little jingle. Me and some of my friends, my wife and father-in-law, and we were drinking one night. And I'm like, dude, I got an idea for a little jingle. So we did a little thing called "What the fuck are you drinking?" It's like a commercial. Mm-hmm. So we did a segment about what we're drinking. So I was always drinking local beers. That was kind of like what I would go towards, and Matt from Peoria Artisan saw one of our posts, and I tagged a beer in there. He's like, "Dude, you should come over here and do a live podcast." I'm like, "Man, that's a great idea."
This is while you were still in the Appalachians?
Yeah, no. So this was out here. Was that story
okay.
confusing? Did you guys think I was in the Appalachians?
I thought you were still out there.
No, I was in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And my buddy was in Florida.
Gotcha.
But we grew up in that town.
Talking about the Podunk town.
The Podunk town, yeah.
If that's appropriate. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, dude.
That's just a
totally
word.
It's totally inappropriate. There's
It's a new word for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Podunk.
Podunk.
So
Okay.
long story short, because my stories can get pretty long.
So Peoria Artisan was your kind of first Arizona beer?
They were the first ones that reached out, and so things kind of my buddy his wife was pregnant, so things were kind of happening where less time was spent. And dude, we would talk for 3 hours, and I would have to cut that down to like a 45-minute episode.
Yeah.
So it was time consuming, man. So it ended up we couldn't do that one anymore. But I'm like, you know what, dude? Why don't I get my equipment and go to these breweries and do interviews?
That was probably the smartest thing you've ever done.
Yeah, I think it was.
Good job.
Still up to this point, yeah. So another piece of it too was there was a guy in a podcasting group on Facebook, and he was like, I'm traveling across Route 66 on my motorcycle. If anybody wants to meet up, I'm going to film some podcast episodes. And he did an alcohol, it's called Make It a Double,
right,
in North Carolina. And he was traveling across doing some episodes, and I said, dude, I'll meet you in Flagstaff. So I met him up. He had this little box with a couple microphones and some box with the wires and shit, and he records the episodes like on the road. So he was my inspiration to like set up this mobile system.
Okay.
Good job.
And it was a piece of shit.
Was it really? You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to the first 3 episodes, they're really bad sound quality.
I have.
And Aaron is very adamant about me taking them down, but it's nostalgia, you know?
Yeah. Something like that. Definitely.
So that was
at that point. What was the name of the podcast? When did Tap That AZ like become a thing?
Yeah. So what was the mixtape podcast was the music one, and then I was just kind of brainstorming. Like I wanted something just beverage related, right?
Yeah.
So the original thing was to have it Arizona craft beverage, coffee, wine, beer, spirits, so that was to kind of make it broad.
Sure.
Yeah, so it was like the tap. So Tap That AZ, and I just went through so many different names. I had some really stupid ones. There was one that something about dinosaurs. I don't know how that one came up.
Yeah.
Nice. Definitely relatable.
So a lot of people like will laugh when because I promote this podcast a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll be telling someone, Tap That AZ. I would probably say it's 50% of the time they go,
Yeah.
really? Is it Tap That AZ or is it Tap That ass? What's
Tap
going
that
on
ass.
here?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
I get that a
was
lot.
there
That's
any-
hilarious.
Was there any like, oh, maybe this is going to be a double meaning here type thing, or is it just straight Tap That AZ and it just turned out to be kind of like a rap song?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, I've inspired a lot of rap
Guaranteed
artists
rap
like,
song
through this.
right
Yeah.
I mean, it works either way.
It does.
I'm just curious.
Well, when
Tap
I
that.
went into it, I went into it not even thinking tap that as. Like I thought Tap That AZ. Like that was it. That's
No,
all.
it actually does sound. It works.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of I didn't even think of that. And then other people, same thing I tell people, and they're like, they laugh. And I'm like, "Ugh." Like, should I be embarrassed? Like,
Yeah. Like, what are you laughing at? This is a serious podcast. Come on.
People
Seriously?
do laugh, though,
Yeah,
for sure.
They do. They laugh when you tell them to.
They're like, oh, ha, ha.
I know.
At first, it's like college humor because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's beer, and
Yeah.
tap that and get it, ha, ha.
I know.
But yeah, it's funny. I'm okay with it.
I know.
To be honest.
I like it too.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when I did the music podcast, we would reach out to musicians and do interviews. So that's kind of, so I've worked in call centers for like 10 years and hated it.
Sorry to hear that.
I know.
In India, right?
Sounds
Yeah,
horrible.
in
Yeah,
India.
in India.
Yeah, I commute. But but I always thought like, man, I don't have any skills like for anything else other than call centers. And then I started interviewing people on the music podcast. And I was like, holy shit. My buddy, we did one interview and he's like, dude, how did you know how to interview like so well? Like, how do you not talk the whole time like he does? I'm like, I guess I learned some skills like being on the phone with people.
On the skills.
On the skills. And Aaron always is coaching me and helping me improve and telling me to stop talking more.
Yeah. Just,
Stop talking
it's really
more.
easy. You just stop
Just
talking.
Yeah, just talk and then don't
Stop.
Just don't do it.
Basically.
Yeah. So we would interview musicians, and so I would reach out to like up and coming bands. Like 1 out of 20 would respond to us. Mm-hmm. So when I started the Tap That AZ, I reached out to like 20 breweries thinking, okay, like 1 or 2 of them are going to respond. And then like all of them responded. And I'm like, holy shit.
You're like, shit.
Different world than the
Yeah.
music,
Right,
the
yeah.
music industry. Yeah.
Well, just kidding. I mean, how about I get back to you in a couple months or something?
Right, right. All right, got shit up for July of 2019. All right, we're good.
We'll schedule you out there.
Yeah.
No
Hope
problem.
you're still in business then, but
You know,
right.
save my number.
If you make it, then we're definitely going to talk to you.
Right, right. If not, we'll keep the episode out there for
It was
you.
a nice thought.
Yeah, but that's cool. The beginning parts of it, and going into it, I kind of had this idea of like, I've always been a big fan of diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
So my idea was always like a visual video, right? So I remember talking to you, Justin, and saying, dude, I want to do video. Like, do you know anything about gimbals? Like, should I get a gimbal and like just use my iPhone? And you're like, dude, you're stupid.
You're stupid.
Basically.
You're stupid.
I think Justin's a nice guy, so I think you said it a little.
That's smart.
That's very smart.
You're
doing
smarter
it live?
than me, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Justin just pulled up an Instagram live.
Yeah, why not?
Hey,
Let's see if
everybody.
we get anybody.
I feel so cool right now.
You're pretty cool. You're right in the spotlight, dude. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually, when I first met you, we had a beer at Wren House.
Yeah.
It was the
Yep.
first time we met.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah, I'm on my lunch break. And, we slammed like 3 beers. And I'm like, man, this guy.
We did.
This guy's cool
This
as
guy.
shit,
Yeah.
He
All
can
right.
drink.
I was like, this guy's serious. I like it.
Dude, I don't have much time. I only have time for 3
Dedicated
beers.
by the craft.
I got 15 minutes.
Dedicated to the craft.
I got to get back to my super important life or death job. I can only have 3 beers.
That's right. People's lives are in my hands.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not horrifying.
So you were kind of like wondering like, okay, how do I take this thing to the next level? What's this and that? And we started talking about, adding other forms of media to it. And it just kind of, I don't remember exactly how it went. Maybe you can kind of refresh my memory. But, Aaron was doing his media stuff at 8 a.m. Films and like just killing it with all the stuff he does. And like, I was just kind of like thinking like, man, you know what? Something like that, if you can bring another form of media to your podcast, would do it. Because, look where we are now. Like we were just saying earlier, this is like the coolest freaking place you could be to take pictures of yourself or beer or, literally anything. We're in an underground shooting mine or shooting range full of lagering beers and barrels. And it's like so cool. So why not?
It's the best.
You're already going and talking to all these cool people in the beer industry. Why not make a visual aspect too?
Yeah. That's one of the best parts about it. It's awesome, dude. Like these tanks blow me away. Like I've never seen anything like this where these tanks are sideways. These fucking flies are eating the beer.
Well, since we're here, I want to throw this out to the Instagram community over there. Might as well make this a dual media.
Can you see that far?
Nope. However, if you're watching this on Instagram right now and you have any questions that you want to ask any of the 3 of us right now, this is your opportunity.
We won't be able to see the questions.
Keep
from
watching
that far
and
away.
ask questions. If you have questions, we're going to walk over there and check those after I get another beer.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we will have to pause for 3 more beers.
Refills.
Oh, yeah, we're going to need some more
If you
beers
look
for
at
sure.
your cup, then you get to my cup. Like, it's full, not full, and empty. So
It's like 3 little bears.
it is like the 3 little bears, and my glass is empty. So.
Yeah. I don't know which one is yours. So, you know what? I think that might be a good time for pause.
Okay.
So it ended up being like me going to these places, coffee places. I did Press Coffee, 32 Shea. But the breweries was where it was at, man, because I love beer. I've always loved beer. So, dude, I would get so nervous. Like I would sit in the car. My wife has turned me. I used to be a person that was like, if I got there 3 minutes early, like that was like the best thing in the world. Like I was always right on time. So she turned me into a person that was like 20 minutes early, which was bad for this because I would just sit there and just like, oh my God, like I'm so nervous. I would have what I called the panic shits.
Those are the best.
Oh yeah, I'm on my way. And I'm like, oh, I'm on the 303. There's no bathrooms. I'm gonna have to take a
That's
shit
how
on
you
the side
lose
of the
weight.
road.
That's how you lose weight, bro.
Yeah, it is. So it didn't work, but so I would sit in the parking lot, and there was a couple that I had scheduled that canceled, and I was so relieved when they canceled. Like as a couple, like as I was on my way. So then after that, every time I would do it, I would sit in the parking lot just thinking like, all right, just cancel. I would refresh my
Just
email.
cancel.
Just cancel. Like, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, no worries, dude.
You
We'll do
don't
it
want
another.
this podcast.
Yeah. So, but then when I would get into it, when I started doing the interview, it was just like this. We're just having a couple beers and just talking. So
Yeah.
I still get nervous for every single one of them, but the panic shits have definitely been kept to the minimal.
So you were used to like talking on the microphone from your closet.
Yeah.
But then what changed, I guess, is now you had like interviewing people, right?
In front of me, yeah.
Yeah.
Like interviewing musicians like over like Skype.
Yeah.
That's every once in a while we would do like Skype video,
Right.
but it didn't matter.
Right.
By that time we were hammered anyways, so this like it was completely different,
Totally.
And I could edit stuff out of that, and I can still edit stuff out of this, but it's it was completely different. And plus I think that what got me too was like being around people, because a lot of places were open. So like there's like customers, I'm like, oh my God, they're watching me, like thinking like, who's this jack off?
Yeah.
Going in with his freaking microphones and shit. But dude, I fell in love with the Arizona craft beer community. Like that's what it was. And I was like, you know what? Beer. That's after about, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes. I'm like, that's what it's about. It's about beer. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he went down that path.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
I thought you were going to say 6 or 7 beers, and then you're okay.
6 or 7, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I get 7 or 8 more.
Yeah.
So, so you're like, dude, meet Aaron. Like that's what it came to. And I remember I went to your place to drop off your camera because I used your camera at Helio Basin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ran out of memory card on my recorder.
Yep.
So I had to take
Was that why?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I lost that camera, by the way.
Did you really?
No.
Still I think it's in the office, but I don't know where it is right now.
Oh my God. The Justin.
Somewhere around there.
No, it's not good at all.
So I dropped it off at your place and you were brewing. So my only experience with making a beer was I got to pour the packet of hops in. That was it. Like you even took a video. I felt like a cheese ball.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
just
We made a big deal out of it. Like, look at Eric's over brewing. He's making beer. Look at
I had
him.
like my shirt tucked in and shit, like my collared shirt.
Look
I'm
at
like,
him go.
oh, yeah. But it was at that time, like, dude, you got to meet Aaron. Like, so I think you reached out to him, and then I reached out to him, and we just kind of chatted, like, through Instagram. And then Aaron's like, dude,
And
we
he
got
bought all my beer at BRI, and that was cool too.
I did, yeah.
That was a good feeling.
Dude, there's been a lot of relationships made at BRI.
Yeah, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
It is,
That's
yeah.
100% true.
The first time I went to BRI, I think it was Classy introduced me, or invited me there, right?
Yeah.
I had only met him maybe once before. I think here actually at Goldwater.
Yeah.
But then I went there, and that night is when I met Dan from Ballast Point. I met the guy from Grand Canyon Brewing.
Alex.
Oh, yeah, Alex, yeah.
Alex.
Hell yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Met
Alex,
obviously the BRI guys. Like,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like a huge, like, I guess we'll go to this random brewery over there in Mesa. And it just turned into like a awesome thing. Oh, I met Craft Beer Betty, like all those things. So
The hidden secret is that anything that's happening at Beer Research Institute, you secretly should know that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've gathered from even just hanging out there, is like there's a lot more going on that anyone gives BRI credit for. Like
Beyond just the beer.
yeah, beyond
like
the beer. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like if there's anything happening there, you know that there's something going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like what I like about those guys is that I don't give a attitude, which is attractive to most people who are like, I want to do something. And then at the same time, like, they're palatable and approachable. And like people are like, you guys are cool. Like, what they're doing, it only exemplifies like the brewer, like, heart. I don't know.
Well, with BRI too, like it exemplifies that pub, right? Mm-hmm. They're big on a pub, and I mean that was the whole point of like a pub, right? Was community, like getting everybody together, and that authenticity of them just doing whatever the hell they want. They're not, if you're not yourself, you're going to attract all kinds of people. If you're yourself, you're going to attract the people that you want to attract.
Yeah.
Like the people are like, oh, fuck them. Well, fuck you probably too.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
let's probably back up and start this with a fuck you first.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, well, also fuck you. So
Okay.
yeah,
We're
okay,
all
all right,
taken
good.
care of now.
Yeah. But no, that was the meeting place. And it was cool too because you listened to a couple of the episodes beforehand, and there was one thing.
I always try and be educated about.
You do, yeah. I tried to track you down online, but I couldn't find
Good.
it. Yeah,
I like that. That's good.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there was one key component you said that really, like, one of the first thing within the first half second of the show that got you.
Yeah.
What was that?
I mean, two things.
Okay.
Two things being, one, I like your focus on story. Story story is king. You were asking questions that I genuinely had to ask, and you were asking them. I was like, see, I like that because, like, that's the question while you're talking, everyone's talking. I'm like, but what about this? And then you ask that question. It's like,
nice.
see,
This son of a bitch.
That's cool. Yeah, because you ask me important questions that when people listen, it's like that's what I was asking when I was listening. You know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the fact that beer was like the second thought.
Yeah. It's
right?
interesting you say that. Yeah.
Considering we're a beer podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the second question is about the beer, but not the first. The first question is really like, why did you do this? Yeah. And what makes you different, or like why is this beer so different than most beers? And that's cool. I like that question. Those questions create value where you just had a surface level value. Now you have something more. It's like, oh, and it really. The more that you ask that question, the more that you cognitively like start to ask that question everywhere.
Yeah, that's what we tell people. Like when we reach out, we're like, we want you to tell your story the way you want it to be heard. Mm-hmm. And there are even times where we're 20 minutes into an episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, you guys make beer here too, right?
Right.
And it's kind of but they dig it too because they can. Everybody wants to talk about like the way they're proud of what they've done. And I think I've found that particularly true in breweries. Yeah, they're really proud because it's a lot of fucking work, right?
And nobody gets to really talk about that.
Right.
Brewers would be like the first person to tell you about the beer.
Yeah, yeah,
because that's what they do.
Right.
But like, almost all of them would all step back and be like, "Oh shit," like I actually made this beer because, for whatever reason. But like, it's their second response. Like, it's not their first response. Because they're always like about, well, I'm a brewer. I brew beer. So I'm not going to talk about anything else. Why would I think about anything else? But if your backstory is connected to your beer, and if it definitely builds like your beer, then you need to be talking about it.
Yeah.
And brewers I'm not saying brewers are made for camera or anything.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them are like,
just kidding. But at the same time, like, it creates value to your brand, and like at the same time, it's the question everyone's wondering, like.
Well, what's interesting too was when we were talking to Dustin from Helio Basin one time, and he said one thing that he loves about our show is that he learns about the people that he's around all the time. Mm-hmm. He's like, dude, I talk to Brian Heldon all the time. He's like, but he doesn't share his whole story with me. He's like, I get to listen to your show and hear the stories about all these people that I know, and I get to know them better. Yeah. I never even thought of it that way. Yeah. But
that's a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought so too.
So what is your goal coming up on 2018 or beyond for Tap at AZ? Where are you taking this thing?
Well, we've got some lofty goals. I like to share as much information as I am excited about, but Aaron tells me to reel it in a little bit. I tend to overshare. Yeah, but I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, dude, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And he's like, whoa. Let's not show all of our cards.
Okay, well, if you're not going to tell us like exactly what the next steps are, maybe just like where you started with Tap That AZ and kind of like what you're doing next, like what's different with your content or whatever, like what are you bringing to the Tap That AZ that maybe other podcasts don't have?
Well, I think the video element. I mean, I think Aaron, the stuff that he creates, like anybody that's seen it, my wife she's like super supportive of the show. I think it's a struggle for her to get through because she's not a beer person, for her to get through the episodes, right? Her and I sat there and watched the whole entire episode of Cider Core. And what is that? It was like 38 minutes. And she was like, something like that. She was she's like, that was amazing. She's like, holy shit. She's like, Aaron, I'm like, yeah, he's a fucking badass. Like, so I think this year is the year of that video content. We talked to, I stopped in, my mom was in town, so I had to show her King's Convenience, right? I'm like, you got to see this place. I'd never seen it. That was my excuse.
Nice.
So I stopped in. I'd met Mickey before when he was at Sellers. I would talk to him all the time. But he was like, dude, he's like, I love that you guys added the video element. He's like, for me, he's like, I'm a visual person. He's like, I liked your show. He's like, but, I can't sit there and listen to it. So he's like, but when you put the video into it, he's like, that adds a whole other element to it. Yeah. So, awesome. So that's kind of what we want to go towards. I mean, we want to continue doing this, but I think the visual aspect of it, the video part of it, I think that's 2018 for us. I think that's the key.
Cool.
Aaron, you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that podcast is still a pillar. Like it belongs. Like there's a reason that it has so much value to everyone. Like even if you're not listening about beer, like you listening to a podcast because you want to learn something, and and that's the best part about podcasts in general. Like, what I find amazing, like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, they make a podcast about something that I want to do, and like, I should be like, oh, that's my competition, But I don't really feel that way. I really don't, and it kind of irks me the other way, like that automatically you have competition. Why? You don't need no. Like there's we're one podcast in a very like extensive and crazy exploding genre. Like podcast audio is so big. And what I love about it is there's so few rules about it. Like your idea of a podcast is like, oh, I'm doing an interview. But really, it could be anything. And it doesn't have to be an interview. It can be a conversation. And I like the conversation because the conversation is the one that's least concerned with what people think. Like you and me and you, we're trying to figure stuff out. And we're talking about beer, which is a science that is ever expanding. Yeah. And at the same time, it's like there's a reason because, like, I don't need to follow the same rules as you. That's fine. If you have like your thing and you've got it defined and everyone is following you and it's like wants to hear about it, great. I don't care. Yeah. It affects me none. Right. So that's the best part about podcasts is like there's no rules.
And there's nobody anyway. Well, then there's nobody like that. We do everything we do is it's completely
And so why should I feel afraid of someone else doing the same thing?
Or man, that sucks, and I gotta make sure we don't do that.
Right. Either way, it's a learning experience, and I love that there's no rules. Like you can't tell me that I'm doing it wrong. Right. You can't.
No. Especially now that you guys are doing the video thing. Like, sure. Hardly anyone else does that with a podcast. I mean, I would say it's probably under 10% of all podcasts.
And the ones that I've seen, I'm like,
there's no rules. Just do what you want.
And there's a few that I'm like, I've seen. I'm like, I could do better than that. I could do it. And it's not even like, it's not that I want to be the best. Yeah. It's that I want to do my best. Right. And so like, when I see, people already doing it, I'm like, cool. No, that's great. That's fine. Because now I already know what's already been covered.
So to answer your question, video. That's video. What we're going towards in 2018. But still perfecting. I mean, honestly, dude, the last episode, the 12 West episode, since I've had Chris Dodson, Chris Runoff doing the audio, like, dude, I edited the audio for like 35 episodes. And in one episode, he did better than I did.
Really?
But I'm okay with it because he was so, like, he understands levels and all that stuff. So I think that's a key part, too, is just adding the right people to your team.
Go ahead.
What's all the cool shit, Aaron?
Justin, what's all the cool shit?
So I'm wondering if you guys have been talking about beer long enough, if you decided to, like, make beer.
Actually, yes, indeed. We actually did a conference call yesterday with Nick from Dark Sky. We're going to make an Imperial Northeastern Blueberry IPA. Yeah.
Different than everything everyone wants.
Right.
Yes.
Everyone is going to now want that.
That's okay.
Right.
I pretty much, like, in the conversation, he's like, is there anything, like, you'd want to do? And I was like, oh, I mean, I got plenty of things I'd like to do.
Didn't you want to put broccoli or something in it, you said?
No.
Broccoli and cheese. I've seen a broccoli and cheese.
Or is it jalapeno?
It sounds good.
Jalapeno, yeah.
No, jalapenos, though.
Easy on the hands.
I will definitely be the first guy to say, like, this is my favorite spicy beer. And then, like, there's two. Chef Inspired was like, no, this is something you can actually really like.
Yeah.
And you like the bite.
I believe that was with the crepe bar in Mesa, right?
Oh, nice.
Have you eaten there?
Oh, dude.
Oh, my
so
dude.
good.
I'd stack plates at that place. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they made a beer with that guy.
Yeah. Okay. And Chef Inspired is a super solid beer. my go-to is McFate's Hatch Chili Gatos.
Yeah.
Which is so much fun. It's light. It's light up front, but then it's spicy on the bite, you know? Like, you just really enjoy drinking it.
Well, Nick loved that too. When you
right.
said, well, we can add some jalapenos. And he was like, it was funny the way Nick set it up. We did a FaceTime. And when he answered, it was just his chair, like his 1978 recliner.
It was a comfy chair for sure.
With his dog sitting on the chair. And then he pops his head and he's like, oh, hey.
It looked fake.
And Nick, like total Nick style. Yeah, it was great. So we're just sitting there talking. He's pounding some triple IPAs. And he was like, yeah, we're talking about, I want to do a blueberry IPA, Northeastern IPA. And then you brought up the Imperial aspect of, I'm like, dude, that's fucking brilliant.
It was mostly because I know how much you like New England IPAs, and I'm like, I like that you like them so much, and I want you to have that. I don't want to take that away from you.
But I need some booze, damn it.
But at the
so we're
same
making
time,
Imperial.
goddamn, I need some beer.
Well, I like it because it was different. Yeah. I've never seen an Imperial Northeastern IPA. I've never seen it.
Right.
And then when you added in the jalapeno, he's like, oh, I like it because it could cut that blueberry,
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Blueberry and spicy tang.
Short story long, right? We January 6th, we're going to be at Dark Sky. We're going to be brewing. We're going to make a little mini movie. We're going to do Dark Sky guys are awesome, so we're going to probably do some mini little music videos.
There's gonna be so many goodies.
Who knows? Blueberry IPA, Tangled Up in Blue, Bob Dylan.
So much drinking.
We might rip off some. We're gonna get
so
sued.
much drinking.
Yeah,
so much
drink
drinking.
and get sued.
If you don't get sued, I'll be disappointed.
I know.
Dude, if we get our first cease and desist, I'm gonna be so pumped.
Our beer's gonna be called Let's Get Sued. So we're working on that. We don't know about a release. We're thinking about maybe Strong Beer Fest to get that beer out on tap. But before that, and we'll be drinking.
Justin, thanks for introducing us, man.
Dude, for sure. This worked out pretty good.
Yeah,
I like
really.
it. Yeah.
Also, another big thing too, Arizona Food and Beer. That's a big deal.
It's exciting.
AZ Beer Jedi
There's gonna be more.
just handed me the best article so far. The story of the Wandering Tortoise. Come up to the microphone. Let's hear. We got to hear from AZ Beer Jedi. Yeah, dude. His.
Oh my gosh.
So coming up this weekend. Actually, by the time this comes out, the anniversary party is going to be already over. But AZ Beer Jedi is a big contributor to Arizona Food and Beer. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I love doing it.
Yeah.
We like you.
Like they're very close. For the video people, you can see that, but in the audio, they're
It's cool.
just looking at each other.
We have a appreciation of awesome
We better be blind.
hood gear.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have the same hat on. Look at that. Not same hat.
Same style.
Same
sir.
style, yeah, same style. But no, AZ Beer Jedi, you're doing some great work for Arizona Food and Beer.
Thank you.
This is a new brand that Aaron and I partnered with Eric Merkow from Arizona Food and Wine. Justin helped us out on the first brainstorming session. The three of us meet up at Eric's house, at his apartment, right? And he's like, hey, you guys want a beer? He's a wine guy, right? We're like, yeah, what do you got? He's like, I got some Michelob Ultra. We basically threw him off his own patio.
Yeah.
But now it's a running joke.
If you survive, we'll continue this meeting.
Right.
By the way, I brought Arizona Wilderness July 11th. So
Yeah.
you're welcome.
That was good.
You
yeah.
did. Thank you. We
I
cracked
know.
it open there. That was
Yeah, I would
good.
totally love to see a whole series on that, like with what they were doing, like the whole Slurpee concept, because of the whole shake and whatnot. Like,
Very delicious beer.
that'd be awesome.
Well, that's the point with Arizona Food and Beer is to just get those stories out about Arizona. Tap that AZ interview with the breweries, videos, but Arizona Food and Beer, a little bit more widespread. Eric Merkow's doing some awesome stuff. He's got some ideas, man, and he's got the execution.
We're thankful for all the areas that he brings that we have no idea what he's talking about.
Exactly. We meet with people and we're like, holy shit, okay, yeah, this dude. But we all bring our own element to this. But yeah, dude, we appreciate you being aboard with
Thank you.
this.
No,
Yeah.
it's for me, and I think it's part of what has motivated all of us is the fact that we all love beer, and we have had the chance to taste beer from other states or even other parts of the world. And by us doing this, it's the next level. It's demonstrating to the brewers and the community that we want that level of creativity. You hear about beer flavors that are, blueberry pancake and these milkshake IPAs.
German chocolate cake.
German chocolate cake. Hashtag Borderlands Brew.
Fucking delicious.
You know, and having that platform to say, you guys have got to try this. It's all about sharing, and you can't know to try it unless someone exposed you to it.
Right.
Kind of going back to, you guys were talking about some spice beers. I've got 2 spice beer stories I'll tell real quick. First spice beer that I had that I absolutely hated was from a brewery that I absolutely love, which is Stone. They did one, I think it was like the Crime and Punishment series. It literally was undrinkable.
I think you told me that story before.
I turned it into a gag at the party we were at by taking samples to people just to watch their reactions. And normally my beer snobbiness would force me to like drink it and be like, no, it's great. You guys should be into it. I was just like, no, this is terrible. The second one, other end of the spectrum, back to Dark Sky. When I was there for their anniversary party, they had it was a black IPA, and it was a habanero orange zest called Voodoo Lady. And stuff was absolutely awesome. So
Yeah.
there's a place for it, and it's got to be done, but you won't know it unless someone's daring enough to try it.
And that's what I love about Dark Sky too. 300 recipes in the first 3 years, dude. That's unreal. Like, and you're gonna. I don't know what I'm looking for, but there's gonna be a group of people that aren't gonna be like, oh, screw that place. I don't want to go there, right? But they don't care. That's that same concept. Like, yeah, whatever. And when I talked with them, they were like, we are figuring out the concept behind it, right? Yeah, maybe traditionalists say don't do that, but we're figuring out flavor profiles. We're figuring out how stuff goes together that shouldn't go together. And now it's all coming together for them where they're starting to figure stuff out. And yeah, they don't care, man. Because that's what we did when we talked to him. He's like, dude, we're Dark Sky. We can do whatever we want, you know?
Yeah, they were definitely ones that just in reaching out and just like communicating, they were the first to really just be on the spot, respond. We're as excited about the idea of just bouncing ideas. And, you know, when you have someone that's going back and forth like that, it helps create that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Dark Sky is like, no matter how many hit and misses you've had with them, like I don't think you could ever like just discredit them.
No.
Like, you can't say like, they don't make anything good. Well, they make fucking everything. So eventually,
0 out of
whether
300
for
have been
your
good.
spectrum, eventually they will make one. You're gonna be like, Dark Sky's the best, and they're gonna be like, fuck you, dude. Who cares? No one cares. Right. I just think that's what I like about Dark Sky is Dark Sky. When I was like, here's what I'm just gonna tell you what I like, and then we can figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I want to be able to just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we?
Right.
Because I like spicy, I like sour, I like all the things that most people don't like. I like those.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, like, it has to be good.
Right.
Just because no one's making it doesn't mean it can't be good.
Right.
So
yeah.
Shit, dude.
And I give them. I know you said that Dylan is the best, and Dylan, we appreciate you letting us use this place. I love Dylan, brand master for sure. But I would give Dark Sky the name trophy with the names that those guys come up with. Oh yeah.
It's definitely a brawl right now.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
I mean,
we should have a tournament.
No, so very few people that I know in the beer industry were around for it. But if you came here for the French toast beer and you were fortunate enough to come here early enough, you would have had the It's Peanut Butter Teddy Time, which is a brilliant freaking name off the bat. And it was an even better beer than the name. And I was like, oh, shit, I like the French toast, but damn.
It's around us right now. We don't know where it's at.
It's in this room somewhere.
It is in this room,
We want to drink it.
I feel like we're like in one of those like escape the room.
We're trying to be really nice about
it. We can't leave today until we actually taste that.
There's a business idea right there. Find the keg.
Find the keg.
Right. That's golden. Somebody take that.
I want that mystery right now.
That's tainted tap water. That is diarrhea.
That's poison. That's straight up poison.
Yeah, that's straight. One of these is poison. Yeah, this is arsenic. Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
I think we should wrap it up after the arsenic. No, guys, thanks for joining me. All you guys, we met AZ Beer Jedi's buddy Van visiting us from.
What up? Plug.
Where are you from? Portland. The competition. Arizona beer competition.
Yeah, super competition.
Well, that's Big Brother.
Big
brother. Okay. All right. Yeah.
This
Big
guy.
Brother.
I like that. Yeah. Big Brother will punch you in the nuts sometimes, but he loves you.
He's not gonna
Demote
cut
at
you any slack.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're great, but I gotta punch you in the nuts.
That's right. But no, dudes, thanks for all you guys do for Arizona craft beer. I mean, it's what this is all about.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and don't forget Kwanzaa or Star Wars.
Hallelujah.
Some kind of Star Wars
Bullshit.
holiday.
Yeah.
That Star Wars.
Good job with the podcast for sure, Eric.
Thanks, dude.
and
Good
Aaron,
job,
you guys
Eric.
are awesome. Keep
This
going.
guy right here, Earn Your Booze,
Yeah.
taking off like wildfire. Like, honestly, like,
Yeah.
we talked about this a little bit ago. Like, what a universal concept. And it's one of those things like, damn it, Justin, why didn't I think of that? Simple. Brilliant.
Nuts.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna get punched in the nuts.
I did,
Big Brother.
I want to piggyback on that because I was
Punching you in the nuts.
I picked up my brother here in spirit at the airport, and I was describing how he's like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, all right, I got an idea. Come on, we're going someplace. I'm like, you awesome guys, we're all doing stuff with the beer, and I was like, I was describing Eric, he does the podcast, and Aaron does the awesome video. I was like, but you're gonna meet Justin. You're gonna love Justin. He's the guy on Instagram that you love to hate.
Fuck you.
Because you see this guy, you see him,
just like shrugs his shoulders.
you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
him, and he's shredded, and there he is, and his Earn Your Booze, and you see that he's putting in the dedication, then he's got his, the pint glass, just like, God, I suck.
God damn it.
Give me the chili cheese fries.
No,
Fuck.
you're inspiration, man. You're showing that it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Appreciate that, but
For the fatties.
no, man. It's for everybody. You don't have to earn your beer any certain way. It doesn't have to be beer. It could be scotch. It could be wine, whatever. But
Just earn it.
yeah, I know. I really do appreciate you guys even like just kind of turning the mind a little bit towards, okay, maybe I'll take a little bit better care of myself. It doesn't mean that you have to drop weight necessarily, but just kind of like, what can I do to stick around longer and drink more beer in the long run? You know what I mean?
I like that concept.
I
Yeah.
like that you guys are able to pick up on it at some level for sure.
Yeah.
I'm at least alive enough to know that every day I should be thinking about not dying.
I'm alive,
And then I'm
Alive enough
I'm
to
alive
know.
enough to be like, fuck, dude, I gotta fucking do something about this beer belly right here.
Dude, I'm starting to brand hashtag alive enough to know.
You should have added that into the conference call. Low carb, high protein, double
Oh,
IPA.
shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn
Bro,
it.
high protein.
A whole fistful of veggies.
New world of beer right now.
It can be done.
All right. Well, hey, tapthataz.com. 8amfilms.com.
This beer is included with like fried chicken, blended into it. Yeah. Yeah, 8amfilms.com. No, I know. No, I don't care about my
We're
website.
shutting
Fuck
it.
that.
We're
Go to
shutting it down.
tap.az. Who cares?
Tapthataz.com. Earnyourbooze.gov.
.gov.
Dot muscle.
Muscle.
Dot.
All right. Shutting it down.